basically looking at his 7-year-old and being like, well, if you're not going to have what it takes to read this line, which happens to be about, Wolverine's penis, then I'll just go find another actor. Total sicko. The exact opposite, in my viewpoint, has expectedly filed to be dismissed from the lawsuit against her. Her argument that she is presenting is that the lawsuit in and of itself is illegal, okay, because the matter at hand is pertaining to sexual harassment.
She used the California law as background for her dismissal. Blake Lively is throwing a full-blown tantrum after the judge smacked down her latest legal stunt. It's a huge risk, and so it's not a fair fight. They're going into this with uneven risks on either side. She's now hiding behind California's Me Too law to escape a defamation case she sparked. It's just that in this case it looks abusive. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds, he straight up IA'd his 7-year-old daughter into delivering a disgusting line in Deadpool and Wolverine. He's basically looking at his 7-year-old and being like, well, if you're not going to have what it takes to read this line, which happens to be about Wolverine's penis, then I'll just go find another actor. Total sicko. The exact opposite, in my viewpoint. The center of this twisted circus is sexual harassment claims, explosive defamation countersuits, and a court system trying to figure out how to apply a brand new law while Hollywood stars cry victim with personal stylists on speed dial. Blake has expectedly filed to be dismissed from the lawsuit against her. Her argument that she is presenting is that the lawsuit in of itself is illegal, okay, because the matter at hand is pertaining to sexual harassment. It all snowballed after California's new Me Too law, that's Code of Civil Procedure FAR 47. 101 became official on January 1, 2020. This Me Too law out here in California, Code of Civil Procedure 47. One is a problem for the Baldoni camp. How big of a problem is it? And that law, it's basically the golden armor for anyone looking to launch allegations without wanting a lawsuit biting them in the ass. She wants the court to use California law. That her argument, and every federal court has to deal with these conflict of law issues that we call them. Blake filed a motion to dismiss Baldoni's defamation countersuit. Her weapon of choice, California's shiny new Me Too shield law. This law is like giving someone a free hall pass to accuse you of something and then slam the courtroom door in your face when you try to defend yourself. And they want us to believe that Justin Baldoni is the creep in all of this. This is running parallel to him shouting at Justin Baldwin in a penthouse about his wife being uncomfortable, and it works because Baldoni now has to prove actual malice. That's right, he doesn't just need to prove she lied, he has to prove she knowingly lied maliciously with bad intent. Good luck with that in court when the legal equivalent of gaslighting is now protected by statute. California law relative to the lawsuit against Lively for Inform is a little problematic, so we have not seen the opposition yet that the Wayfair parties are going to make to the motion to dismiss filed by Lively, but I suspect that they're going to want New York over California law. We'll see what they do. But is it valid though? If the judge says yes, you can use California law in this instant, could they dismiss his case because of that? And it's not just about losing. If he doesn't win this, he has to pay her legal fees, her probably very expensive legal fees, plus punitive damages, plus maybe triple damages. So not only does he lose his name, he loses his wallet, his company, and probably his will to ever speak in public again. But here's the real problem for him, and our concern for Baldoni is if he goes forward and he loses his countersuit based on defamation, there's a huge risk to him because he then has to pay Lively attorney fees, treble damages, punitive damages. It's a huge risk. Blake's team, in the most Gacy move of the century, argued that Baldoni himself admitted that she believed her own story. That's it, that's their argument. She believed it, so it can't be malicious, right? Because delusion now equals innocence, as it requires Bond to prove a higher burden than he would otherwise have to prove in this defamation lawsuit. So he actually has to show that Blake Lively's anything she said, any communication she made about us, that they were made in malice, and so that's a higher standard that he has to prove. The public's not buying it. People see what this is: a Hollywood powerhouse, not some underpaid assistant, is using laws created to protect vulnerable victims as a shield. Laws designed for those without a voice are now being wielded by people with red carpet handlers and brand deals. The optics disgusting. It's like watching someone use a food bank donation box to store their leftover caviar. It's a problem wouldn't be there if they had done this lawsuit a year and a half ago. So this is a brand new law, and what it does is it requires Boney to prove a higher burden than he would otherwise have to prove in this defamation lawsuit. But you know who needs to be dragged through the mud harder than anyone? Ryan Reynolds. Yes, everyone's favorite charming, quick-witted human Twitter thread, but under that PR polished smirk is something a little darker. Let's go. Straight to the unhinged cherry on top, the Deadpool dad disaster, and then the jury has to look at the totality of that evidence and say, is that malice? And there's certainly evidence that would lead one to believe a jury could find that Reynolds casts his 7-year-old daughter Seven in the next Deadpool film, because sure, Deadpool is definitely where you want your child making her acting debut, but it gets worse, much worse. Absolutely no person, I don't care how funny you think you are in Hollywood, would want their precious daughter of all people to make comments about Hugh Jackman's penis being in their father's mouth. One of the lines, a comment about Hugh Jackman's penis being in her dad's mouth. No, that's not a joke I made up, that's literally the line, and the girl didn't want to say it because she's 7 and still has some functioning moral compass. But what did Papa Reynolds do? Did he say, okay sweetie, we'll skip that line? No, he told her that if she didn't say it, he'd recast his own daughter. Blackmail. But make it parental. You have to investigate any further, because there is no father in his right mind who would want a scene in which his daughter makes a, I guess, homosexual joke about the relationship between him and this Wolverine character, who were starting to have questions about the relationship in real life. He fully admits this on tape like it's some kind of funny anecdote, as if emotionally coercing your child to say something sexually explicit in a superhero film is peak dad humor. And then we've got director Shaw Levy casually chiming in that they made her do 70 to 500 versions of that line. Sorry, 500 takes of your own daughter saying something that disturbing? That's not filming, that's psychological warfare. When I started looking at other people to play it, yeah, but Ryan, to our discredit, we made Neezy do I'm not you 70 to 500 versions of that line. Yeah, I'm going to pay for that later. And here's where it becomes comically disgusting. The same man, this Hollywood icon of dad jokes and aviation gene, has the audacity to label Justin Baldoni a predator. He runs around calling Baldoni a predator while literally pushing his daughter to deliver lines about male genitalia on camera for laughs. If irony had a physical form, it would punch this man in the face, and that's what he says. So he kind of basically forced his daughter to do the line, or else he's going to replace her as an actress in this movie. She's 7 years old, you guys. And let's not forget his 12b6 legal filing. Most legal motions are dry procedural things, but not Ryan's. His was so hostile, so aggressive, so over the top it felt like he was trying to win a courtroom roast battle. It didn't even read like a lawyer wrote it. No, it won't get dismissed at the 12b6 phase, because Brian Fredman will be able to plead around by doing a second amended complaint, and he'll be able to outline, the claims of actual malice, and that she wasn't reasonable. When she reported this harassment, it read like Ryan himself sat down and said, let's write the meanest, most self-righteous pile of garbage ever filed in court, and honestly, mission accomplished. He didn't just want to get the lawsuit dismissed, he wanted to publicly humiliate Baldoni while doing it. Those are not up points that a judge decides, those are not legal determinations, those are factual determinations, and we leave all of our factual decisions to a fact finder. In this case, that'll be a jury. So Brian Fredman more than likely will get past this phase. The man whose Deadpool persona bleeds into his parenting and legal strategy is not someone anyone should be romanticizing. The PR machine might try to spin it, but facts are facts. He used his own daughter like a prop. He turned a workplace dispute into a public smear, and he weaponized his fame in ways that make villains in his own movies look like choir boys with you. When I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverines out of your mouth. That's kid guiltily, that is my daughter, and I'm so sorry we have to admit that, and I am father of the year over here for allowing her to say such language. So no, Ryan Reynolds isn't the quirky lovable underdog here. He's the top of the Hollywood food champ, throwing punches and hiding behind snark. And now, thanks to receipts, audio clips, and an internet full of people who've had enough, the mask is slipping fast. Let's talk about Ryan Reynolds, or should I say the smiling assassin of Hollywood. This guy built an entire brand on being quirky, charming, and self-aware. Oh look, he made a joke. Oh wow, he's trolling Hugh Jackman again. How funny. Except behind the scenes, the mask is slipping faster than his daughter's innocence. In that Deadpool disaster, his PR persona might have sold you a few gin bottles and laughably unfunny superhero movies, but what's happening off-screen is giving full villain origin story that is just unbelievable. He is admitting that she was not Neezy, as she is called, was not comfortable doing this line, and Ryan essentially said to her that I'm going